Jo Cox was murdered on the streets of this market town. She'd come to meet constituents in the library. An eyewitness says she became involved in a scuffle between two men. One of the men allegedly shot her 3 times, once in the head, then he stabbed her repeatedly, and then he walked away as she lay bleeding on the ground. These pictures are of the suspect being arrested shortly afterwards.
We just heard loads of screaming, so some staff came running outside to see what had happened, because they weren't normal screams then. They were panicking, and then when we looked down the road, there was a woman laid on the floor outside the library behind a red car.
It was the police who confirmed that Jo Cox had died.
I've worked closely with Jo since she was elected, and I'm deeply shocked that such a talented young woman has been so senselessly attacked and killed whilst working in her constituency and serving her community.
Birstall is a town in shock, a place now of great sadness. The police have identified the suspect as a local man, 52-year-old Tommy Mayer. They're urgently trying to understand why Jo Cox was killed. Shortly after the attack, her husband tweeted this picture of Jo Cox, a rising star in the Labour Party, a former aid worker with a passionate concern for refugees who believed in military intervention in Syria's war.
The children as young as 7 who have been forced to the front line in Syria.
Jo Cox was also campaigning to keep Britain in the EU ahead of next week's referendum. She and her family were on the River Thames in London on Wednesday when flotillas supporting rival positions in the referendum jostled in the water. Campaigning by both sides in the referendum has been suspended. British politicians of all persuasions have expressed shock and dismay.
She was a bright star, no doubt about it, a star for her constituents, a star in Parliament, and a star right across the House. And we've lost a star, but above all, I'm thinking of her husband, Brendan, the children, the family, and her constituents who will be feeling this huge sense of loss tonight. And I think it's right we stop the campaigning activity.
I'm surrounded by parliamentary colleagues, particularly those who came into Parliament with her in the general election of last year, of 2015. Because there's a special bond of newly elected MPs, the class of 2015, and they're grieving deeply.
A family and colleagues left bereft, a brilliant career cut short in its prime. We wait for more details, but it's difficult to make sense of this killing. Barnaby, Phillips, Al Jazeera, Birstall in Yorkshire.